Hi, my name is Ryan Bernstein.
Hello and welcome to the Los Angeles Podcast with me. I'm your host, Mike Elder. Thank you so much for listening to the show. We've got a really great episode for you this week. But first, if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, please give me a rating and review. I've only had one in the last couple of years. It's very sad. This is partly on me because I haven't been pushing it, but please give me a rating and review. That's all I ask. If you're listening to this, please, there's way more listeners than there are reviews. So go review. Please, I can wait. I'll wait for you to do it now. It takes no time at all. So I can just twiddle my thumbs while I wait for you. Thank you. All right, you did it? Great. Thank you. Okay, who do we got on the podcast this week? We've got commercial casting director Ryan Bernstein. Ryan runs RMB Casting down on Vulture at Envision Studios. By the way, I thanked him after the podcast. I meant to do it during. He used to be at Ocean Park, way over in Santa Monica. He moved to Koreatown, Mid-City area, and it's so much better for us in Los Feliz, Silver Lake, Echo Park, etc. So thank you for moving, Ryan. But he's at Envision Studios. He casts tons of commercials, music videos, etc., etc. He's brought me in quite a bit. This conversation was chocked full of good stuff. We talked about callback rates. We talked about AI taking over casting. We talked about how he got into casting. We talked about everything. We talked about self-tapes. It's all really good stuff, and I really enjoyed this conversation, and this was one of those ones where the time just flew by, and that's how you know it's great. I didn't even get to all my questions. At the end, we were like, hey, I didn't even ask those, and I was like, wow, you're right, Ryan. I didn't ask those. My bad. I apologize. But that's how good the conversation was. Just a natural, beautiful, fun, curious conversation. I'm wasting time. This is a good one. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Ryan Bernstein. Hi, Ryan. It's so good to talk to you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming down. I was just telling you, it's funny. I flipped the switch. You often bring me to your office and then put a camera in front of me, and
That's
now
right.
I put a bunch of cameras in front of you.
I know. How am I holding up? Do I seem anxious? Do I have any twitches happening?
Not yet. But the penetrating questions have not started
That's
yet.
right. That's right. I'm going
to put you in the hot seat, brother.
Okay. All right. Well, we need some wings as well, don't we?
Yeah. Wait, you said you've only done one podcast before this, but you used to be an actor, so cameras aren't disfamiliar to you, right?
Well, yes, but it's probably been almost 20 years since I've genuinely been in front of the camera or done anything. And not to say that I was actually very good in front of the camera, hence I'm not in front of the camera anymore. So that's not a good barometer of whether or not I'm comfortable in front of, being in front of the camera.
Yeah, but you were like a proper performer, right? Didn't you come up through Chicago and do like Second City and all that? And then you just mentioned you took an acting class by my apartment here.
Yeah, so I did. I was in Chicago for a couple years. I did the conservatory at Second City. I did Improv Olympic for a couple years. So I actually was here in LA in the early 90s, moved to Chicago.
Oh,
yeah.
You did reverse.
Well, yeah, I had moved there specifically because I wanted to get better at comedy, and I actually wanted to study with Del Close. Was the goal. So I sort of packed up, moved out there, or auditioned for the conservatory, got in, moved out there, started doing Improv Olympic as well, and I think at the time it was like a 5A, 5B, and Del was teaching a 5B class, and I was in 5A, and then Del died.
No, I was just going to ask if he caught him.
Yeah, that sucked. I mean,
did you get to know him at all? At the bar or anything? No,
not really. I mean, a conversation here or there, whatever. He wasn't, to me, anyways, much of a conversationalist. But it was like, all right, and so I settled for Noah Gregoropoulos as my 5B teacher, and then I ultimately came back here in 2000.
Yeah. Let me ask an unfair question.
Yeah.
If your goal was to get Del to teach you and you go there and you put in all this time and effort and then you don't get him, is that a fail? Do you consider that a failed experiment, or did you still be grateful for all you learned? Or did you learn something from not getting to Del in time?
I don't think it was a failure. That experience of being there and learning that style, long form, and being at Second City and was fantastic, and it's helped me in so many ways. None of which really, I mean, I use it in my everyday life still, just the principles, the concepts of improv. But no, definitely not a fail. And listen, I was there, when was I? 98, 99. So I was, there at the same time that, who was there performing at IO? It was like Christian Schall and Sudeikis and Ike Barinholtz and Jack McBrayer and Seth Meyers was there. And when he's like Seth and Jill were doing a show, Jill Benjamin were doing a show together. So I was around, ultimately some folks that have, gone on and had some great success. So there was a lot of value, I think, that I was able to hopefully pick up.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I was just curious because it's like, I think that's important for actors to remember too, is like goals don't have to be firm. They can change.
They can change.
The goalpost moves, right? And you need to be able to adapt because they are going to change. You're not going to hit every goal.
My goalpost moved. When I got back here, I was fortunate enough. I'm going to take these off. I was fortunate enough to then start to study with a teacher named Larry Moss in his like main master class.
At IO?
No, not at IO. He now has a center out at Edgemar in Santa Monica, but at the time, the class I was taking with him was like, it was on 3rd Street Promenade, like on a second floor, just a small little, studio. But, Larry had, at the time, he had coached, private coached, like Helen Hunt and he, Jim Carrey. And so he had a good reputation as an acting teacher. But it was because of studying with Larry that my goalpost changed from like, I was like, oh yeah, I don't really think acting is in my DNA.
Just because, why? Because the class was so hard, or
no,
he made you do things you were uncomfortable with?
No. I think it was just, it really, I think I just, started to get a better understanding of myself and what maybe my goals were out of life and just why I had decided or chosen to try to pursue a career as an actor. I think it just shed a light on what all those goals were. And I was like, oh yeah, I don't think that this is not in me to make a go of this or to do this for the next 20, 30, 40, however many years.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I need to pivot.
That's a common thing among casting directors, I feel like. They have a realization while they're actors that...
Yeah, I actually kind of got into casting, like my day job, instead of waiting tables and bartending, which was at the time, that's everybody did that. I got a job at running sessions.
Amazing!
For like a commercial session, and I was like, all right, this is cool. This is better than being at a restaurant, and then it just kind of, over the course of years of doing that, I was like, you know what, I kind of like this, and didn't really think that being a commercial casting director, because I don't do theatrical,
right?
It was like, okay, I could do this. I could, like, I liked the business of it. I liked, listen, it's not the most creative
I disagree,
spaces.
though. I disagree.
There is creativity for sure.
Yeah. You have to envision something and put that to real life. That's creativity.
Yes.
You're drawing with people.
Yes. But, I think varying degrees, serial commercial,
you're not Picasso,
creativity. Yes, exactly. I recognize, that the art that we are doing is not, but I guess it is.
But honestly, though, the zeitgeist, like nobody's talking about Picasso. They're talking about flow from Progressive.
That's
you
right.
know what I mean?
That's right. I was just going to say the zeitgeist would say otherwise, that I actually am in the most creative medium.
Yeah, they're not watching the Super Bowl for Starry Night.
No, they're not.
They're watching
They're not.
What Budweiser will do.
Yeah, that's right.
Wait, you said something earlier that just made me think of a question. When you pivoted now to this, do you ever have inklings as you're casting something and you're like, you know what, I'd be fucking perfect for this? Do you ever toss yourself in the mix a little bit?
No, I don't. So when I was running camera,
those guys are definitely doing it. Like Jonathan Runyon's one of my favorite session directors.
Yeah,
he's
and I was booking stuff, and I was directors would call callbacks. Hey, yeah, why don't you let's put you on for this, and I'd book it, and but I think I made a decision for me, whether right, wrong, or whatever. Not to say anybody else that does something differently. When I started doing my own and opened up my own sort of, company, I just made the decision that I wasn't going to mix the two. I didn't want to, misguided maybe, I thought, you know what, am I going to ruin the credibility with actors if they're see me trying to do the same thing that they're trying to do? Because the reality is I want everybody that comes in, I want them to get the job. I really do. It's like selfishly, not selfishly. I don't bring people in to make myself look bad. I bring people in that I think will crush. And I just don't want, because there's also a psychological component. I don't want somebody walking in and going, oh, man, he's probably going to put himself on, and I don't know. It just, whether it's right or wrong, I just made that decision very early on that I wasn't going to, or I didn't want. I've been asked,
by directors?
Yeah, we're in a session and we're like, oh, we haven't been in effect. Do you want to go on? And I'm like, nah, you know what? No.
I'm gonna be deadly honest with you. Yeah. I find that very admirable, especially where we're at in the world right now, where everybody's trying to use their positions to gain more of position and power and. Nepo baby. There's so many things where people don't want to separate, and you've stuck to your guns, which I appreciate. I mean, honestly.
Yeah, I listen. Look. It's also, I have no illusions about the difficulty of it. I don't think that just anybody can be good at it. It takes
at acting.
Acting? Yeah. Being on camera. Yeah. I mean. Stage, camera, all of it. I mean, it's a thing that I'm actually, a bit concerned about with regards to the way the business has kind of gotten a hold of this industry in the sense of, episodics and commercials, the money that people can a living that can be sustained in this business. I truly believe that now the pool is being diluted because younger people that are maybe coming up are like, well, am I going to go to Tisch for what? Or am I going to put all this time and effort? Doesn't have to be Tisch, classes and all the things. Like, can I make a career out of this now? And I think the professional actor, the person who is out there trying to work and sharpen their craft and their camera angles and all the thing that goes in, everything that goes into it, I just think is over the long run, the next 5 years even, we're seeing a little bit of a change in what that pool looks like and having accessibility to professional trained. This is what they do. It's not a hobby. It's, this is what I want to do.
Yeah. This is something I talk with my friends a lot about because I don't think it is I don't think you can make a profession out of this anymore.
It's hard. It's really hard.
Like I just interviewed Matt Jones and he did 5 seasons of a Chuck Lorre show, Bob Hart's Abishola. And that money's gone. He's like, you would be surprised how little I made on 5 seasons of a network sitcom.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, and Matt, when he was in doing commercials, I mean, he was at the time, he was booking a lot and making really good money, and he did end up, I think it was Breaking Bad after that, and yeah, I mean, it's not easy anymore.
Well, to that point, are you concerned on the casting side at all? Because I've asked a lot of my guests lately about AI, and I don't want to sound disrespectful, but it seems like AI could go through 4,000 headshots pretty efficiently. Are you concerned about that?
Well, I think I would be pretty naive or stupid to think that AI is not going to have some sort of impact. I don't, I mean, I don't know. I'd like to think that what I do is, I don't know, like that you can't just hit a button and something could do what I do. I'm not saying that what I do or what commercial casting directors do or is, the most complex thing on the planet, and there's no way that we can be replaced. Because maybe, but I also, but there is something to what we do individually.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're doing like the spots that I work, the directors I get to work with, I don't know that AI would necessarily be able to, right now anyways, who's to say in 5 years when it gets super, super smart. It's already pretty smart.
It's pretty smart.
It's pretty smart. But it's going to get smarter. It's a little bit smarter. Maybe then, but there's some nuance.
Yeah.
There's some things that, that when I'm looking through, I'm not just looking at faces. I mean, for me anyway, when I'm looking through, I mean, I hear people's voices, their tone, their delivery, their style. I mean, does it work for this director? Not there is some nuance to who comes in based off of the director that we're working with. They have different style. There's things that they like, don't like. Some are very technical, and where are some of the actors that are just much more technical than maybe some of the actors that are
free-spirited
a little bit, you know what I mean? Unhinged and unreined, and that are
bucking
just
bronco.
Yes, completely unpredictable. So yeah, I don't know.
Did you read that? I think it was on Vulture this week, that article about casting directors. Did you see that?
No.
About how we finally have a casting director Oscar, but the business all these casting directors signed up for is not what it used to be, and how.
Well, I had read that that it was. I don't know if it, and maybe I'm making this up, but I feel like I read that or read something about that a while ago, that they were going to be having finally.
March is the first one.
An Oscar category as well as stunt performers. But yeah, I mean, it's a weird one. It's weird that it had taken so long for it to happen. Because I sometimes wonder if the directors, even in films and TV, even really feel like the casting director now does anything.
Well, that's the point of the article, right? It was like, casting is not what it used to be. A lot of these directors are casting it themselves, and they're asking for influencers, and you're pushing you guys to self-tape, so you don't even get to work with the actors, and you don't even get that nuance.
Or it's packaged.
Talking about earlier, yeah.
And you're really, I'm not really putting in the main headliners of the film. I'm finding the 1 or 2 dayers or whatever it is. So yeah, it's like the whole business is changing. It really is. And coming full circle back to, is it really a place that someone can make a profession out of? And I don't know. I hope that we're in just a weird point after COVID, because it really feels like, maybe there were some grumblings or things were changing leading up to COVID in terms of the industry, but it still felt like, it was still healthy.
Yeah.
And and it just seems like maybe the industry needs like a vaccination of some sort. Or,
Oh, interesting.
You know,
Well, how are you doing? Because like, as much as everyone's talking about the industry being bad, I feel like commercials aren't horrible right now. Like I looked the other day, I'm still SAG eligible, which depresses me. Talk about the goalpost moving, but like if they're not going to bang the door down for me to join and they're not going to push for more SAG commercials, what's the point? But I've had more SAG auditions for commercials 6 months into the year than I have the previous 5 years each year. I think I'm at like 12 SAG commercial auditions this year, and like I've never had more than 10 or 11 in a year. So like I feel like commercially I'm going out a lot. So how are you guys doing? Do you feel like commercials are still happening quite a bit?
well, I mean, last year, as an example, was probably one of my busier years.
Yeah.
This year has started off slow, but if I look back, last year was similar. The beginning of the year was slow.
Yeah.
It's become unpredictable.
Unpredictable?
Yeah, it used to be fairly, you could predict based off of a pilot season and all these things that were a thing at one point. You could kind of, okay, this is, we understand the ebb and flow. I don't understand the ebb and flow.
That's stressful.
Yeah, it's stressful, and just like an actor, I still need work as well, and so when it's slow, I'm like, I have clients, and
Yeah.
so it's stressful if there isn't a lot happening out there. and,
Yeah. Share as much as you want on this question, but like last year was your best year. How many spots is your best year? Is it 30, 50, 100?
No, not 100.
I don't even know.
No, I mean, it depends. I mean, it's less than 100 for me, and because it's just me. I'm not, I don't have a full squad. Correct. I'm looking through all the things and all the pictures, and I'm doing, but obviously I'm not running the sessions. I have, guys who are, running the sessions.
So if you ballparked, it would be 50?
More than 50, less than 100,
okay.
is a decent year for me.
How do you procure? Like, is it the same brands coming to you? Is it the same directors coming to you?
Well,
and then is it word of mouth basically from those people?
It's word of mouth, I think. I think, when you work with people, producers, directors, production companies, executive producers, ad agencies, it's just, how every job I view as potentially my last job.
Such an actor mindset.
Yeah. And so it's like, okay, well, I have to, you always just, for me anyway, just try to do absolutely the best I can do on this job. And, did I click with the director? Did I click with the producer? And then there are, fortunately, I have, clients that I've been working with for years, and we have a good relationship. We have a shorthand, and then in terms of like, getting or meeting new people, it tends to be word of mouth. Somebody worked with somebody and they recommend and they come. Do we get along? Great. Yeah, we'll work on this one. Do we work again together? I don't know. We'll see. Did they like me? There's a lot of things.
Yeah. But sorry, are those mostly directors or are those mostly production companies?
It'll be directors. Usually directors,
okay.
They're represented by production companies in the commercial world.
I see.
And, and then there's some production companies that, they specialize in comedy, or some of them specialize in more visual spots. So, I do it all, but my core tends to be comedy in terms of the directors and the spots that I kind of get to work on. I'm fortunate enough to work on, and people I'm fortunate enough to work with.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, who knows? I mean, I guess I'm a funny guy. I don't know, or I understand funny. I don't know.
Well, you were in the
Probably not.
conservatory.
I mean, what does that even mean, right?
Don't discount yourself. Wait, do you want to know? I looked up my numbers for you. Are you a numbers guy? Do you like, because you ballparked how many gigs you did last year?
How many times you've been in for me?
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I don't know, but I have access to that.
Right. I counted. Do you have a guess?
You're fairly recent.
Yeah,
for coming in for me.
That's not true, actually. I had a run pre-COVID with you, and the only thing I booked something with you pre-COVID.
What was it?
Good RX. I got cut out of the final, but you booked me on a good RX.
Okay.
Spot.
Yeah.
I wrote it down. I've done 20 first auditions with you. 3 callbacks, 2 avails, and 1 booking.
Okay.
That feels like pretty good.
Yeah.
Would you say that's good? I don't know. I always, and listen, I realize everything is nuanced, but like 3 out of 20 feels like a decent, 15% feels like a decent callback, right? Or are you still seeing people getting callbacks every other audition?
Honestly, I'm just sort of staring at those numbers.
I'm a nerd. I'm sorry.
No. Look, I like numbers, but to be honest, it's there are sometimes so many people. Like I just finished up a Lowe's, and we over 4 days we saw over 500 people.
Oh my gosh!
So sometimes, weirdly, I have such a short-term memory.
That's not good.
Well, it's good. Yeah, I know. I know. It's like you think it's the worst thing for a casting. Yeah, it's the worst thing for a casting. They're like, "Well, who was the?" I'm like, I have no idea. It's just.
They just leave the room and you completely forget.
Yeah, who is that? I have no. Have I seen this guy? Yeah, they come in all the time. All right, I have no idea. So yeah, I mean, listen. Getting a callback, whether it's, if you can get callbacks consistently, what is consistently? I mean,
well, that's, yeah.
I mean,
what is it these days?
I don't know what that percentage is, right? But getting a callback is really just the goal, because once you get that callback, every actor should know this. The rest of it is out of your hands. I mean, if you can get the callback, and you can at least come in and just do what you need to do in the callback.
Yeah.
The booking of it is like, forget it. There's just nothing you can do about it. There's so many other things that happen after you walk out of that callback. It runs through... the gauntlet in the room, the cocktail of what the spot needs to look like. Then it has to go through sort of internal approvals at the agency. Like, creative directors need to look at it. And do they feel like, okay, does this all, blend with what we need our ultimate product to sort of look like and represent? And then once it gets through there, then it goes to the actual client and they look at it. So a lot of things can change through no fault of the actor in any which way, shape, or form.
Yeah, well, speaking of goalpost moving, that's really fascinating that you say if you get the call back, you've done everything you did. Because I remember specifically when I moved here, everyone's like, if you get an avail, you did everything you could. An avail, and now you're saying it's earlier in the process almost, which
because even getting an avail is not easy, and there's so many things that go. Listen. There are callbacks where we have somebody come in, they crush it. It's so funny. Whatever that means, right? They don't get the avail, and it's not because of anything they've done.
Right.
It's like the thing in its entirety. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if getting an avail is a fair barometer for how you're doing or if you're doing your job. Well, I think it's the callback.
Well, what I was going to say, even my bar is even lower, is like you bringing me back in a month later for a completely different spot. To me, a repeat customer is...
that's the other thing, too.
And I know I didn't alienate myself.
Right.
You remembered me after I left the room.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? You have to think... ultimately, whether myself or any other office, really, you don't want to bring in people that you think are going to, or that you want to fail. Like,
Right.
you don't want to bring in the wrong, like, because that goes back to selfishly, I'm only as good as my last job. And so you want to bring in people that you think for this spot, this look, this vibe, that they're going to be successful. And so, like, sometimes when I've director's agency, like, who did you like? I mean, the reality is I like everybody that I bring in. I have a hope that everybody that I bring in, I know it's not realistic that everyone's going to get a callback. It's not going to be an all back situation, but I really genuinely think, like, I like everybody that I bring in. I like the way it looks. I like everybody's, you know what I mean? And so, yes, I can't speak for everybody, but, like, for myself, when I bring people back, or I like for another spot or whatever it is, it's because, it's like, oh yeah, no, I liked what they did here. I have confidence in them. I feel like they're going, they'll do great here. Maybe you got to call back, or maybe you don't. I don't know. But I feel like, oh yeah, no, they're going to represent well, or they have a good shot, or I feel like, I want to try to put people in positions where they can be successful.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Back to your point about callbacks being everything actors could do. I took a class with Robert Giovanzo. I don't know if you know him. In the first class, it was so eye-opening. He gave us a scene the day before, or whatever, or maybe the day of class, and had us prep it, and then put it up. And then he picked a student to go cast it with him. And they go out in the hallway, and they come in and they pick two people to cast the part. And then he's like, you know what's funny about this is we didn't even talk about who was good. We talked about who looks like the part and who would be a good fit with the other person. It had nothing to do with how we read it. And it was so eye-opening to be like, that is fascinating, because it is so much of that sort of ethereal vibe.
It's a combination,
how everything connects. And
but listen, there are some directors that I work with that it's all about the acting, right? And then there are others, which, again, that's also on the actors to understand the sort of the business that we're in. It is, I mean, looks matter, not good looks, bad looks, but just the looks. It's part of it, and that's also having an understanding. And I might think, when I bring somebody in, like, they've got a good look, but then at the end of the day, it is so subjective. Someone else looks and goes, I don't think their look's right for this. Yeah, it reminds me of this, or it feels like it's more this, where it should be this, and that's just all part of it. That's all part of, like, I think the actor understanding them as a product, because you're a small business, and you are trying to get your product into TV, film, commercial, stage. Like, that's where you're trying to sell yourself. And I mean, again, the more sort of fine-tuned and ready you are as a product, as much as people don't like to think about that. Like, no one likes to think of themselves as a product.
Most don't, but I do. I think it's fascinating. Because we can do this exercise in acting classes, right? Where, like, somebody will sit in a chair and everyone says what they think when they see him, and a lot of people can't handle that. And I'm like, no, but that's just how human nature works. We have to put somebody in a bucket immediately just to process and file that thing. It's not necessarily right or true or fair, but that's just how our brains are processed to work. And you're absolutely right.
In my opinion, I just don't think that every actor can do anything. Like, there are reasons, even in film, why certain people maybe don't get cast. And sometimes there's that anomaly, and you go, I would have never thought this person was going to be in that role.
Right. Like, I just don't do ugly. I'm a very attractive model type.
Yeah. Well, I'm shocked that you're not with Ford or, Wilhelmina or any of those places, because they are really missing out.
Thank you for Andy.
There's a lot of money there. There's a lot of money to be made right there.
Wait, back to callbacks though. Like this is dumb, but maybe I just want validation. Do you still do a callback for every commercial audition? Like every project you work on, is there a callback, or are you skipping them? Or just, I'm curious.
You're right. That is a dumb question.
Thank you.
No.
That's why my listeners keep coming back for the dumb one.
This is the dumbest. I need more of this.
I feel like for a while you skipped them, right?
No.
Not you. I mean, the industry got away from them. But maybe I'm just wrong, and I just haven't had as many callbacks lately.
I mean, I would not say that is a thing. I feel like we're always having callbacks. There's the occasional. I just did one. I don't even know if I can say the name of the product, but I just did one where we did a first call, and they cast off of because they didn't have time to do a callback,
right?
And so, those usually come after we've had a callback. The directors and the agency have sat together. They've worked out the yeses and the nos in terms of what the scene is. Maybe made any changes to dialogue, moments, beats, really fine-tune stuff. And we just didn't hit this one role or whatever it is. And so we have to do another session on it, and they don't have time.
Got it.
So they just give us detailed notes of every moment and beat. And they're like, yeah, give us a day.
So 98% do callbacks.
Yeah, in my experience.
So
yes.
when I love numbers, and I apologize if this blows your mind, but so give me an example of something like, I forget, I just went in for you like last week, but give me an example of like something I would go in for. How many headshots or how many submissions are you getting? How many are you calling in for an in-person? Because you're doing a lot more in-person, I feel like. And then how many would you call back of that? I think I went in for you for
what was it?
It was the frazzled mom and dad. Running back and forth.
Yeah, that was
stuff.
for
Your
Heinz.
Session director.
That was for Heinz.
Your session director, God bless him, he had to do so much. He was like, blah, blah, blah. He was like doing kids photo shoots because he was like, over here.
Yeah.
What's his name, by the way?
For that one, I think that was Duncan.
Okay, yeah. God bless him.
Tall, handsome young man.
Tall, yes.
Yeah.
Handsome. He's not my level. But.
No, he's not. He's not. He would not make a dime in print. You would crush again.
I agree.
I feel like that should be your first call after this podcast. It should be
Anna Winter. I'm
here. Right. That's right. Okay, so I'll take like it depends on how many roles we're looking for.
Yeah.
But let's just say it's something that we're I'm looking for 10 rolls of something different. I can receive sometimes up to 15,000.
It's up to 15,000
sometimes
for a white male in their 30s.
Well, no, not.
What's the biggest category right now? White male 20s.
The best category?
Biggest.
The biggest category.
Because obviously, Hispanic 70-year-old woman is probably a very small number. But
listen, the fluent Spanish, 50 to 60-year-old category. That's a small category.
So 15,000 would be what? Like
that would 20s? Be everything. That would mean me looking for if I'm looking for some roles that I'm looking for people in their 20s, 30s, 40s. Let's forget 50s, 20s, 30s, 40s. Different types, characters.
So wide open.
Wide open.
I honestly would think it'd be higher than that still.
I mean, listen, for a union job that, has conflicts and dates, you would be shocked on how many people, and that's what I'm saying, the landscape of the landscape's changing. Like a union job, national network stuff on some of my schedules, I was having a 40-50% cancellation rate. Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. People are out of town. I don't know. It's crazy, but that's what I'm saying is like that landscape is changing because it's not a priority. And I know there's probably people listening, watching, going, what? I would kill to...
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. And it's...
What do you do with... Sorry, now we're on a sidebar, but when somebody cancels on you, do you give them like one grace period or one grace one strike, or like do you not blacklist them, like blue ball
Well,
do you blue ball them for a couple auditions and not bring them in? Like, because canceling, I was taught is like,
first off, blue balling would be illegal. I don't think that I could blue ball anybody and
was a trap.
and not, yes and not be canceled. Thank you. I don't blue ball anybody. Okay, no one gets blue balled in my office.
I'm not an eloquent speaker. I'm the wild buck in your audition room. I'm not technical.
No, that's
always a bad term.
Yeah, you're the one that we bring in for the I don't know what I'm going to get.
Crush a beer and see what happens.
Let's just see what happens.
But like that's a no, right?
So
or is it not less so now?
If I'm calling somebody in and then they're just going to continue to cancel, I mean, I'll just stop calling them in.
Right. It's after a pattern. You let it happen.
Stuff happens.
Right.
If it's, and I don't know, I guess I don't know how truthful agents will be, but for the most part, and again, this goes back to even the AI thing. I try to, who I'm bringing in for the directors that I get to work with, I really am trying to bring in actors that work, have resumes, credits. Maybe they're not, prolifically working.
I'm rubbing off on you.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Thank you. Please don't judge. Prolifically, I think, is a word somewhere in some language. Prolifically.
Yeah.
Working all the time, but I'm trying to find actors that, have credits, training, because again, fortunately, the folks that I do work with aren't only looking for a face.
Right.
So yeah, if they're canceling because they're working, I can't fault that.
Yeah.
I can't hold that against somebody.
Fair, yeah.
Right? Because that's not fair. You're working. Good for you. It sucks for me. It sucks for the client that I think, you'd be great for. But you know what? Good for the actor. They're working.
Good for you though to recognize that, because I got an audition last night at 6:00 that was due at 10 a.m. today, and it's like, come on, like stuff like that.
Yeah. So and also. I will get back to the callback question of how much.
I know we will
at some point.
We'll circle back.
It's in there somewhere. But yeah. So that's the other thing. I thought initially with the pandemic, when we were doing the Zoom auditions, not self tapes, but having people Zoom in. I'm not quickly. I'm not such a fan of self tapes. It's easy. It's quick for us, for clients, in the sense of. It's a little bit, it's not as much of a lift, but I don't think it's incredibly fair for the actor. And I don't honestly believe that you're getting or you're showing your clients the best of what they can do, because ultimately you're receiving minimal information, and sometimes you receive this long description of what is needed. And you could say, listen, hey, they're professional. They should be able to figure it out. But there's a lot of interpretation that has to happen. And maybe you misinterpret something, or maybe I don't know. I just don't feel like it's you're not getting the best quality.
You're getting a shotgun approach rather than like a targeted shot.
Kind of, and I think targeted is always better. I mean, I agree.
I think everybody agrees for what it's worth.
I mean,
we appreciate the convenience at times, but
sure,
doing it all the time is not sustainable.
I was very surprised when I started to do I'm really doing 99% of my stuff is in person. A lot of it came out of just competitiveness, because we were doing Zoom stuff, and another city got more people booked than I got booked. And it felt like, there was something that was missing and I think the director was there in person with the other city, and my people were, not in person. And so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna just do the in-person. There's something that I think I took for granted pre-COVID about having people in person that we didn't necessarily go, whatever, that's just the way it is. But then after, I'm like, oh, you know what? There is something. There's something that you just can't explain, that's there, that either is there between two people. Well, obviously, we know what it is. It's chemistry. It's energy. It's whatever it is.
Energy, for sure.
But so that's what all the time I'll put us, oh, are you accepting Zooms? Are you accepting self-tapes? I'm like, no.
Good for you.
It's in person. I'd like them here. I'd like to be able to work with them. I'd like to be able to redirect. I'd like to be able to guide. Maybe somebody makes a choice, because that's ultimately what we're hoping.
Yeah.
There's a choice. Something's coming in the room. Someone's making a choice. And you can go, okay, great. Now and that's going to be based off of conversations with director, treatment, what we know. It's not like we're posting all the stuff and all the information that we get and all the inside baseball that is happening. It's unnecessary, it's overwhelming and whatnot. But when you can get somebody in the room, and then we can go, okay, we know this, so let's see if we can help shape and direct and guide. We're not doing it because we don't like what you've done.
No,
we're not
definitely.
because we think you're bad at that choice. It's more like, great, you've given us this. Now let's see, can we shape it a little bit more how we need to?
Yeah, I've been adamant the problem with self-tapes is no direction. Like, we're actors, we need direction. And
a little bit.
You can read that last night. It was like, hug a person. Scene 3, hug a person. If you can really hug somebody, that'd be great. But if not, oh well. And I'm like, okay, so I'm supposed to fake hug?
Fake hug and pantomime hugging. And it's like, what do you...
How do I not have direction with that?
It's just bizarre.
Yeah.
And I just...
I wrote down, by the way, in my notes, in person... Well, I had it written down. Anyways, I had written
must
down
not
in
been
person.
important.
I was gonna say thank you for doing more in-person auditions, because you, Allison Horn, Ross Lace, Elevator at the same location you're at, and everyone at 200 South, those guys are all doing in person. Somehow, I don't know if all the other casting offices just went under or what, but like pre-COVID, I was going to the Valley, I was going
a lot of facilities
but now
have
it's just
closed.
Wilshire and 200 South are the only in-person ones I'm doing. I'm still doing other ones that are self-tapes, but you guys are like the squad that's gone back to in-person.
It has a lot of facilities have closed, and that's just sort of financial ramifications as a result of COVID, and just people couldn't keep it open. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe just because they don't have a facility, or I don't know. And I weirdly am shocked whenever somebody's comes in, and maybe I haven't brought them in before, or they're relatively new, and I hear in the lobby conversation, oh God, this is my first in person in whatever, a year, 2 years. I have since COVID. I'm like, really?
Yeah. It's frustrating.
I got to imagine it's frustrating. And ultimately, I don't think it's fair for the actor.
It's not.
Because I don't really truly believe you're getting your best foot forward, all the information, the best opportunity. And that's all I am, is somebody that can hopefully provide opportunity. I don't do anything other than provide an opportunity. It's the actor that has to come in and execute.
Right.
And they're the ones that are getting the callback. They're the ones that are booking it. I'm not giving anybody a job. I'm giving an opportunity and saying, hey, together, let's see if we can, crush this, because you have to come in and do the hard work, Yeah,
that's a cool way to look at it.
I mean, I'm not doing the work. I'm not in front of the camera. I don't have to worry about all the things that you have to learn and know, but then forget when you're there, so that you can actually just be natural or whatever it is. I don't know.
I posted a vlog and I tagged you in it, and I think you saw it because you accepted it. Where I had
by the way, I accepted it, but I'm really not knowing. I said to my wife after, I was like, "What have I done? I did this thing and I accepted it.
It just shows up on your thing.
Now I'm seeing all these comments. I was like, well, help me out. I am not a social media.
You can remove it from your. You can remove yourself.
Idea.
You can remove it from the grid if you want.
No idea. I did something. I clicked something and stuff was happening. And I'm like, please put me back in the 1920s because I'm an idiot. All this technology, like it's fine, right? But I really had no idea what I was doing. I know.
I thought you saw it and liked it. Like,
no, I did like it. I was like, oh, this is cool. Okay. And I clicked something and all of a sudden it's like, why are all these comments populating my feed?
Well, you like comments, right?
Sure, comments are great, but I'm like, I had no idea what the hell I did. What the fuck I'm doing?
Is that was a two in-person audition in a day.
Yeah.
And I hadn't had one of those in a long time, and that was so fun. And that's why I did that video, is because I was like, this feels like it was back when you would have to hurry over across town and like.
The funny thing is, that's one of the reasons why I knew where I felt like I didn't want to be an actor. We will get back to the callback thing, by the way.
I got it. It's in there.
It's still there. Because I didn't, it wasn't in my DNA to like have clothes in my car and change and run from this one to that one and to wait. Like there's a lot of things that, you, as an actor, are we
No,
against time? Okay, I just didn't know
we're there, but we're good.
We're running up against it. We'll be cut off.
This is the problem when I'm the one-man show. I produce, I film, I do all this. The moment I look away, every guest is very concerned that they're doing something wrong. And
I'm just like, okay, I'm talking too much now. No, I should probably.
This is literally gold.
Do you have music that's going to play me off?
Yeah, we gotta wrap it up.
Okay, like a flickering light, and it's gonna create like I'm gonna have a seizure, and that's how you get your guests out. You're like, okay,
and we'll let you know.
I would say if you could get called back.
We're going to that. Okay, wait, no, let's actually go back to that real quick. So, for that Heinz commercial, how many guys did you bring in from me? Of how many submissions did you get? 4,000, 5,000?
No. I think for that role specifically, maybe only 700, 800 people.
Oh, okay. And then you bring in 70, 80?
No. I mean, I brought in for that role. I think I scheduled 36 people.
That's it.
I scheduled for 3 hours, a person every 5 minutes, and I did that knowing that I would lose 40% of the people. So I overscheduled, knowing that I was going to lose, and I ended up only seeing about 26 people that actually came in and made it. So I lost 10 people.
Oh my God!
For that, and that was it.
And how many callback?
I think for that role, we only called back 4 people. But I added another 4 or 5 first calls to callbacks because they felt like, but here's the thing.
Is it, real quick, is that normal, that small amount of people for a callback? Or is it always sort of a percentage of the original first?
Well, I feel so when anybody asks when it was either new director or whatever, what should we be calling back? I always am of the mindset, and I always say, listen, if you have 7 people you love, everything about performance, look, they like these, that's enough for me, in my opinion. If you're not comfortable, maybe stretch it to 10, but that's what I think. If you find 10 people per role that you can bring back because of the cocktail that needs to kind of happen, that feels good to me.
Yeah.
Now, that number, for me, that number usually more aligns up into like the European mindset. Directors, they don't even really like callbacks. And they only really, if they could, would call back like 2 or 3 people, but it tends to be all the other sort of input where, when I have people that like, when we have 18, 19 people per role, I usually tend to we should probably cut because it's a lot of people.
I don't disagree. I think decision fatigue is real. And it's the reason we scan through Netflix trying to pick something because there's too much. And the reason when I get headshots, I get 150 headshots. And I'm like, I don't know which one of these is good. So I think there is something to that. But I was always under the impression, and maybe I'm just wrong, but I was thinking you guys would bring in like 30 to 40 at a callback. But
per role?
Yeah.
No. I mean, sometimes when you walk in and you see a lobby and it's packed and everybody's behind or whatever. It's a lot of different roles that are being called back.
But I also guess you only brought in 36 or 26. I was thinking you were bringing in 80 to 100.
Well, no, but what some people don't understand is like also when I'm casting something, I'm given a schedule. I'm given how many days they have, and I have to put it.
Because they're paying you an hourly rate or whatever, and you do the math
however they pay me,
Yeah.
It's not even that. It's like they have a budget that they submit. The production company has a budget that they submit to the ad agency that gets accepted. And in that budget are line items from everything from
that detailed?
Yeah, craft service to all the stuff. That's the budget that gets approved. Casting is a line item on that budget, and they have X amount of dollars that was approved.
Right.
By the cost consultant, whoever, based off of the history of commercials, of how many days, based off of roles and this and that. We have 2 roles. We're looking for 2 people, right? Okay, we've got 2 days of casting in there. That's a lot for 2 roles and a callback. So they say to me,
give you that.
So they say to me,
wow.
okay, we're looking for these 2 roles. You have 2 days to do it. Or for that Heinz commercial, I only had 3 days for 5 spots, 20 roles.
Oh.
So I have to, how do I have to see this? Oh, I can only see this role or this spot for 2 hours.
Right, but you're doing that math.
I have to do that.
Yeah, okay, that's what
they say to me.
I thought you were saying they line item that.
No, they say to me, listen,
here's 10 grand, 2 days.
Whatever.
And then you reverse.
I have to reverse.
Yeah,
I have to deconstruct it and kind of, how can I see and give them as many options in each of these roles as I can, given what they've given me. And and so that's how I break it down. Sometimes I can see the same role all day long. Sometimes I have to only see it for an hour and a half.
Right.
You know what I mean? It really is. It's not because I'm trying to make anybody else's life difficult with the schedule. Oh, can you see somebody tomorrow? No, I can't. Actually, I'm not seeing this tomorrow.
Yeah.
I wish I could bend my schedule to this person, but I also have 400 other people that are coming in or whatever it is that,
Do you have an opinion on everything we just said and everything prior? Do you have an opinion on celebrities taking over commercials? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Are you indifferent? Does it make your job harder, easier? Any thought about it?
It doesn't impact me. It doesn't impact me in the sense of making my. I don't know, because I do feel, I feel like a lot of the spots that celebrities are in are now the spots that are the union spots, which is a good thing that there are union things out there. Who am I to say that, listen, if that celebrity is being offered, $5 million, who am I to say to them, you have no right to do that. That should be going to a scale actor. I mean, I have no opinion there. Do I feel like they are maybe taking some jobs away from other actors that could be doing it? Yes, potentially. But also, it's such a numbers-driven industry, all of it. Theatrical, episodic, commercial. What are the metrics, that are, what does this generate? How many clicks? How many views? It's all tied into it.
Yeah.
And that's, we've built that. We being as a society, we've built this. We've created this.
I didn't. Well, actually, I did. I put out so much stupid content.
Yeah, I mean, this.
I gave you so many comments on your Instagram that you didn't want.
This is listen, I mean, this is it. I mean, this is, so I fortunately haven't worked on things that they've specifically asked, how many followers does this actor have? Like that has not been. Yeah, listen, I've had to cast based off of other stuff like shoe size or, eye color or whatever for specific things, but I've never been asked to specifically cast based off of followings, which is good.
Have you ever cast celebs? Do they come to you and say, hey, we'd like a celeb?
No.
Or do they usually have the celeb in mind already?
No, I mean, typically the celeb is either on board or they're onboarding them because when a celeb is being cast, there's just so many things that need to be taken care of, service days, how many, all the minutia of all the things it's not something that, I mean, I can, if they want to give me all the stuff, I can go out and I can do it, but they have to give me all the stuff, all the information, all what's involved, the detail, how much money they have. And a lot of times the agency or the client, they don't want that out there.
Right.
You know, they want to just be able to negotiate directly with the agent of whatever celeb is there and be able to lock that up. But what does make my life difficult is if they don't have a celeb on board yet and that they want to sort of cast a quote unquote scale actor or overscale or whatever it is, but they, you know, really have that celeb in mind that they want to do it. And so it's almost like anybody that I bring in is just not
famous enough.
Yeah, or they're just, and it's like, well, you know, if you have that in mind, that's kind of hard to, you know, they're a celebrity and these other folks, so they're not. They're great. There could be people that are amazing.
That could become their celebrity.
That could at some point, maybe.
Yeah.
But they're just not that.
Okay, I wanted to ask about this thing that, so I got a self-tape the other day.
Okay.
And this rubbed me the wrong way, and I wanted your take on it.
Was the self-tape
We're
from
going to
me?
rapid fire these couple. No, it wasn't from you.
Okay.
And the casting director literally said in the explanation of the self-tape, I don't want to see the same thing all day.
Okay.
And that really pissed me off. And tell me if I'm wrong. But to me, I'm like, that's not fair because we are
You don't know what they're seeing.
Well, we don't know what they're seeing, A, but B, we have an opportunity to do an audition. We want to do it the correct way. We don't want to do it the wrong way. You signed up to be a casting director. You knew you were going to see the same thing all day. How is that on us to not let you see the same thing all day? It's almost like if a Broadway performer went out on a night and was like, I don't want to do Hamilton tonight. I'm going to do my own monologue. It's like, no, this audience paid to come see Hamilton because you're bored doing this every day. Am I right on standing on the soapbox, or am I?
Well, okay. So if your question is, do I like that question or do I like that statement?
Do you agree?
I don't agree with that statement.
Yeah, I don't. That rubbed me the wrong way.
Because I think at the end of the day, hopefully, you are just naturally going to do something that is different,
right,
than the next guy. That is, you know, maybe they're just, you know what I mean? Like in theory, if I just say, okay, can you try to give me something grounded and honest? Nothing that is going to be insane or crazy. Just give me something that feels earnest. You're going to do something different than that guy.
Yeah.
In theory.
Yeah.
Because you're a different person. You might have a different approach, different energy, and whatnot.
It's on the casting director.
I don't know what that statement does other than mindfuck you.
It made me mad
all day long. I mean, and
not mad. I was annoyed. I was like, what?
Yeah, and that goes back to what we were saying. I just don't know that. What does that mean? And it's like, oh, well, we just want to see what they're going to do. Okay, fine.
Then
don't say that and just be like, listen, know that you're going to do something different. Like, that's in my brain. That's how I would go. Well, I'm not going to do something different. What I would maybe say is, okay, I'm asking you for 2 or 3 takes. I don't want the takes to look exactly the same. I'm not looking for perfection on the take. So maybe try to find some nuance from one take to the next. And I don't know what that is.
Right.
Because sometimes, sometimes what also people don't understand is the script, the treatment, the whatever it is. This is the first time that sometimes anybody that wrote this commercial script or whatever is seeing it on its feet. It's been a concept for 4 months inside a room on a storyboard.
Yeah.
So this is the first time they're seeing it, we're seeing it, I'm seeing it up on its feet. I don't know it might not work.
Right, yeah.
All this stuff in it may actually not work. And that's some of the stuff by the time we get to callbacks, like maybe it's been ironed out, maybe it's been changed, whatever. So in a first call, sometimes we're just like, okay, try something a little different, not looking for them to be exact, and we're not looking for a perfect take.
Yeah.
So take 1, what is that interpretation? Again, knowing that I'd like you to simply just please be honest, earnest, and grounded.
Yeah.
Now try something a little different.
Yeah.
So that I would say, but I don't want to see the same thing all day. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Thank you for validating.
Yeah. Yeah. You are valid. Yes. You are worth it.
My last question I like to ask people is, who took a chance on you?
I don't want to say.
What?
I know. Because I don't work with this person anymore.
Oh, I see.
But it was a person that did take a chance on me in terms of like giving me my first shot.
Okay.
At casting.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that.
That's awesome.
Because they took a chance, and we're not working together for various reasons. It's good, bad, whatever. But they did. They took a chance and they gambled, and I think it worked out.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful, and I'm thankful if you're watching and you know who you are. Thank you. I'm looking at the wrong camera, aren't I?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't really matter. It's in the general direction. I have like seven cameras now.
See, this is why.
Well, this is me. Like I just am scared this is going to not work. So this is the backup.
Okay. Okay.
You know what I mean?
So I was looking
when you try
there.
something new, like this is the first time I've seen this on its feet.
Okay.
So like
shit.
It could break.
Shit. This is so you just don't want to see this. Have I given you something different all day, or have you seen?
This has been
you seen the same thing all day?
This has been gold. This is why I like interviewing casting directors, because we are in this together. We have to remember that.
We are.
You guys know that. Actors don't necessarily know that, and we need to remember that. And you guys just give me gold every interview I do.
Listen, we are in this together. We really are, and it's I don't have a job if I don't have actors that want to, or because I know that there are some actors that maybe they won't go into some offices, maybe they will, maybe
really?
they've had a bad experience here, not everybody, but there are some instances like that. And realistically, I honestly want every person that comes in to have. Listen, I'm not a theme park. I don't want you to have a great, it's you. Oh my God, I had the best time. Shit, I got to come in here all the time. But listen, I want you to be successful. That's how I'm successful. I can show this is who I think, because that's ultimately what I'm saying to a director at age whatever it is. When I show them a link for a day, I'm like, yeah, I think this would make your spot really kick ass and fun. And this is what I imagine is the realization of what you guys have been working on for so long.
Yeah.
And this is my gift to you.
Oh, Ryan, this was really great. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah. Thank you for having me and inviting me, and thank you for your time.
Well, of course.
Well,
I mean, I'm not cheap.
No, this is costing me a lot. But you know what? It was worth every second. I'm watching that computer, the time tick up, and realize that I've taken up an hour or so of time.
Yeah. You got a tail slate here at the end.
My name is Ryan Bernstein with RMB Casting, and this was the time of my life.
Aww.